In this video, we will discuss how to submit email samples to Forcepoint X Labs for detection and classification. The following topics will be covered. What is the purpose of email submission? How does the email submission process works? Important things to remember about submitting email samples. How to correctly save samples from an email client. How to attach saved samples and send them to Forcepoint. Overview of the email submission report. How to save samples from an on-premises Forcepoint email security solution. What is the purpose of email submission process? Forcepoint aims to stop unwanted emails from reaching users' mailboxes. However, there may be times when false negative or false positive samples need to be submitted to Forcepoint X Labs for possible reclassification. Using email submission process, customers can submit false negative and false positive samples to Forcepoint X Labs. How does the email submission process works? Samples are sent by customers via email to email-feedback@forcepoint.com. Forcepoint scans the samples using latest database updates. An email scan submission report is sent back to customers confirming the latest scan status of the samples. The samples are continued to be analyzed for the next 7 days. If the detection status changes, an email is sent to customer informing them. If customer needs further assistance, they can raise a technical support case, referring the submission ID from their email submission report. Few important things to remember about how to submit the samples. Samples must not be forwarded. Original sample must be saved and attached to a new message. The reason why a message must be attached and not forwarded is because when we forward a message, original message headers are lost. These headers have very important information about the message and are required to perform message analysis. Therefore, saving the message and attaching is the right method to send the samples. Samples can be attached in .msg, .eml, or zip format. If you like to send the samples as a zip file, you can password protect the zip by using password infected. Email address to send the samples is email-feedback@forcepoint.com. How to correctly save samples from an email client. Here I'm using Office 365 Outlook. The exact commands may vary with the different version of email client you're using and the configuration of your email client. Open the message. Navigate to Save As. Browse to the location where you wish to save the message. Save the message. How to attach saved samples and send them to Forcepoint. Open a new message. Then using Attach menu, browse to the location where you saved the samples. You can attach up to 49 samples to a message. If your email client allows, you can use attach, drag and drop, copy paste, or forward as attachment methods to attach the samples. Recipient address for Forcepoint submission is email-feedback@forcepoint.com. Note that by default, all message submissions are treated as false negatives. If you're submitting false positives, then prefix the subject of the message with FP to indicate the submission is for false positive. No specific prefix is needed for false negatives. Also ensure not to mix false positive and false negatives in the same submission. A false positive submission should only contain messages considered to be false positives, and false negative submission should only contain false negative messages. Once you have attached the samples and added the recipient address, you can send the message. Overview of the email submission report. After your samples have been received, Forcepoint checks the samples with latest database definitions. A report is sent back usually within 30 minutes. This is how the email submission report that you receive in your mailbox looks like. Each sample you sent would be listed here. Classification of the samples according to the latest scan is provided here. In case where you submitted a false negative sample and the email submission report shows status of the message as spam, it means classification has now changed and Forcepoint is already classifying this message as spam. The messages are continued to be scanned for 7 days and the classification of the messages may change. If the classification changes, Forcepoint sends you an email informing about the change. If you need further assistance, you can contact Forcepoint technical support and give them the submission ID from the report. Using this submission ID, technical support will access your submission report and will be able to assist you further. I will now show you how to collect samples from Forcepoint Email Security on-premises solution. Forcepoint Email Security by default do not keep a copy of clean messages. If you wish to enable this option so that you can collect clean message samples, navigate to Inbound/Outbound, Message Control, and tick Enable Archive Queue to enable saving of clean messages. You can find Archive Queue by navigating to Message Queues, Archive. Here you will see message copy of all inbound messages being processed by Forcepoint Email Security. You can simply tick the messages you need and from More option menu, select Download. After collecting the samples, you can send them to email-feedback@forcepoint.com, same way as shown before, by attaching them to a new message. If you like to send the samples as a zip file, you can password protect the zip by using password infected. This may allow the messages to be sent through without being blocked by the email scanner. I hope you have found this video useful. Thank you for watching.